go.
So, it's a QSL.
Give it a moment. What it's going to do is boot into the activation wizard, which is the new user out-of-box experience for everybody. And I'll just click through that very quickly. It's set up so that we can sort of do it very fast. So here's the wizard. So we start off, we ask you your language, then we tell you why essentially we're here, what privacy is about. First thing we'll do, which is different from a normal Android, is we'll prompt you to set a device pin. You know, again, you can always go and do that after the fact in normal Android, but here we're saying do it now. Then we're going to say turn on your whole device encryption, and you know, let it do its 20 minutes of grinding in order to make it work, so that you don't need to worry about what happens when you lose your phone in the back of a taxi. Right? Then we'll connect to a network. We haven't connected to a network yet. Connect to the network for provisioning, and choose a secure network. Now what we're going to do is hit a barcode. There's a unique code that comes with every phone, which is your activation key. The phone will take that code, ask the network for the provisioning for all the apps that come on the phone, and then it'll come back and say, here's what you're entitled to activate on this phone. These are all the bundled tools that come with the phone and the subscription terms that go with it. You have the option of emailing yourself a backup copy. Do that. Now what we're going to do is come up with unique usernames that you're allowed to use. Right? So we're going to resolve all the username conflicts and everything else. Just pretend. Then it's going to come back and say, okay, you've successfully provisioned these tools. You know your username because you've already provided it. So they're activated and ready to go. And that's it. You're finished. So when you get out of the wizard, remember, this is the first time you started the phone. Everything's ready to use. Okay? From here, then you can do sort of two other things that are interesting. The first thing is you can go into the security center. This is where we manage all the permissions. Okay? So the phone is set up to organize all the different apps on the phone based on what types of permissions they have. So for example, what we're looking at here is every app that has permission to get your hardware information about your phone. And you might say, you know what? I don't want the browser to betray my hardware ID. So we're going to turn that off, and that's fine. And I'm going to say, you know what? I don't want anything to be able to leak my address book to the internet. So I'm just going to disable internet access for that entire group. And it's done all once, right? You don't need to go in and dig around 1,000 clicks in the user interface to try and figure out how to do it. We do tell you, written in plain English, what all the different descriptions for the permissions mean. And again, it takes effect immediately. It's very simple, and you're good to go. The other thing we're doing, which is interesting, is we're offering the Smarter Wi-Fi Manager. What this is doing is protecting you against the beacons. So as you walk into the coffee shop or you walk into a store where they have a beacon harvesting your Wi-Fi hardware information, we're disabling all of that so that the Wi-Fi only works when you're connecting to a trusted hotspot. It might be at home, it might be at your office, it might be somewhere else. But by definition, the Wi-Fi will only connect to those hotspots, and it'll not just not connect to anyone else, it'll be completely disabled. So again, you're not leaking information about your device as you walk down the street. Okay? You're typing furiously.
I find this quicker than handwriting at the moment.
Yeah, no, I understand. We ship with silent phone for voice calls, silent text for messaging, which is text, video, audio files, all that kind of stuff, and silent contacts, which is a private address book that no apps can access without the necessary key. And then we ship with Disconnect, which is private browsing and VPN, and we ship with SpiderOak, which is secure storage in the cloud. All of these services are provisioned for 2 years. After 2 years, you can either renew the subscriptions, or you can buy the latest and greatest black phone, and you'll pick up your renewal that way as well.
Privacy is not living in a cave. That's not acceptable.
Questions from anyone?
And I was going to say, so a lot of phones like iPhone, S5 yesterday had the fingerprint scanner as a level of security. What do you think about that? Do you think that phone will have that eventually?
By Biometrics are cool. I mean, Apple proved that they're fashionable, and that's great, because that's the first time anyone's ever said that about biometrics. So we'll see. We have plans for a whole family of devices, and certainly we'll look at which of these technologies have legs, and you know, should be a legitimate addition to Blackphone. There's all sorts of different models that you could look at, but you know, again, we're trying to do something that people can use without it feeling over the top. So it's got to have the same user experience that they're used to, and be easy and simple and familiar right on day.
How different is this from BlackBerry? You know, BlackBerry is also known for security.
Well, nobody's going to confuse this with BlackBerry. It's completely different.
Okay.
It runs Android, doesn't have a keyboard, you know, although I know some of the BlackBerrys don't either. But more importantly, because it's an Android-powered device, you can install any Android app you want, it just works. Pardon me. And we support private communications for a whole range of different communication types that certainly no other secure phone has previously done. You know, encrypted video chat, again, all in software, no special hardware, no expensive to manufacture devices. File transfer to file storage, all those sorts of things. Again, they just work, they're software, they're apps, they're subscribed and paid for out of the box. BlackBerry did a great job of teaching people that security is important, but they sort of gave away their credibility when they let, you know, certain foreign powers have the keys to the kingdom. Right? We're never going to do that. We don't act as an intermediary, so our architecture doesn't require an enterprise server somewhere in the middle of all the communications. It's all peer-to-peer, point-to-point. So, you know, even if you can get access to the encrypted packets, there's no repository with the keys that could allow you to decrypt them. So you're always going to be insulated against that sort of attack.
Can I say your name as well?
Yeah, yeah, sure.